This is True Crime Stories. Let's take this case step by step.
On July 22, 2011, two coordinated attacks took place in Norway, beginning in central Oslo and continuing later that day on the island of Utøya, in an event that led to one of the largest criminal investigations in the country's history. At approximately 3:25 p.m., an explosion occurred in the government quarter of Oslo, near the offices of the Prime Minister. The device had been placed inside a vehicle parked along Grubegata, a street adjacent to key government buildings. The blast caused extensive structural damage. Windows were shattered across multiple buildings. Several offices were heavily impacted. Emergency services were dispatched immediately, and the area was secured as authorities began assessing the scope of the incident. At that stage, the situation was treated as a bombing targeting government infrastructure. But while emergency response efforts were underway in Oslo, a second sequence of events had already begun. Earlier that afternoon, Anders Breivik had traveled to Utøya, an island located approximately 40 kilometers northwest of Oslo, where a youth summer camp organized by the Norwegian Labour Party's youth division was taking place. Breivik arrived on the island shortly after 5 p.m., presenting himself as a police officer. He was granted access. From there, the situation changed. Once on Utøya, Breivik moved across the island over the course of more than an hour, during which time multiple individuals were shot. The island, which is accessible primarily by boat, had limited immediate exit options for those present, and communication with authorities was affected by the evolving situation. Emergency calls were made from the island as the events unfolded. Police were notified and began coordinating a response. But reaching the island required assembling personnel and transport, which introduced a delay. At approximately 6:27 p.m., police units arrived on Utøya and detained Breivik without further resistance. By that point, the scale of the incident had become clear. Across both locations, the bombing in Oslo and the attack on Utøya, 77 people were killed. The investigation began immediately, focusing on confirming whether additional individuals had been involved and securing both sites for forensic examination. Authorities also began reviewing Breivik's background, communications, and planning activities. It was established that he had acted alone. Prior to the attacks, Breivik had prepared and distributed a document outlining his views and intentions, which investigators reviewed as part of understanding the context of the events. There was a limitation in how the situation could be responded to in real time. The attacks occurred in sequence, at separate locations, requiring law enforcement to address multiple active scenes within a compressed time frame. In 2012, Anders Breivik was tried in the Oslo District Court, with proceedings beginning on April 16th and concluding with a verdict on August 24th. The case focused on criminal responsibility, including whether Breivik was legally accountable for his actions under Norwegian law. Psychiatric evaluations were conducted as part of the trial, producing differing assessments that were examined during the proceedings. The court ultimately found him criminally responsible. He was sentenced to preventive detention, a form of imprisonment under Norwegian law that allows for continued incarceration based on ongoing risk assessment. From a legal standpoint, the case addressed individual responsibility for the attacks, but the broader impact extended beyond the trial. In the months and years that followed, Norway conducted reviews of emergency response procedures, security measures, and coordination between agencies. The attacks also became part of a wider discussion about how such events are planned how they unfold across multiple locations, and how systems respond when incidents develop rapidly. There is a broader pattern in cases involving coordinated actions within a short time frame. When events occur in sequence across different locations, response systems must divide attention while operating under incomplete information. In this case, the investigation was able to establish the sequence of events, identify the individual responsible, and proceed through the legal process. But the scale and structure of the incident shaped both the response and the review that followed.